in Maryland, the biggest challenge we have is in the early spring is the environment. It gets very muddy, it's very wet, and many places it's quite rocky. So we have softer feet to deal with, and we have a lot of larger horses in Maryland, Wharton blood type horses, and because their body size is so large and the feet are what many of us would consider marginal type feet as far as size and density and thickness of hoof wall. Those feet will have a tendency to distort quite easily that time of year, and so trimming becomes very, very critical, as well as keeping those horses together in these wet environments. It's very good for bacteria, microbes, fungus. Those kinds of things are always working against us. As the temperature rises, that warm, wet environment of a horse's foot creates a perfect environment for all the things that attack a horse's foot. So trimming becomes very critical, controlling their environment, getting owner participation or client participation in hoof care, cleaning them up, painting them with some sort of, I prefer oil, when the hoof capsule is dry. You can't put anything on a wet hoof capsule, only when it's dry and been drying for a long period of time, thoroughly dry. That's a great aid in doing that. And then the environment, you know, it's wet, it's slick, it's muddy, traction becomes an issue for the horses that are turned out. We have shoe loss, that kind of thing to deal with. So the better I can manage the horse's feet in the springtime, the better show season I'm going to have, especially later on in the show season, because if I can get them through those sticky periods or ticklish periods or periods of high risk to the hoof capsule, then I've got a much better base of operations for that horse to work through the rest of the season. And we have a pretty good founder season in Maryland. When spring comes, it comes fast. The grass and the plants in the pastures come on very, very quickly, and we're seeing a very high rate of metabolic imbalance in horses, Cushingoid type horses that have difficulty processing these kinds of foods in their diet, and it's showing up in their feet and their body condition, and that's become a real challenge. You know, and I've seen that increase over the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, it's unavoidable to see the increase in the incidence of those kinds of things.